Welcome back, sports fans. Here we go. We are going to be doing a mechanics and variance video. We have done the 200 meters already. If you haven't seen that one, have a look at it. And you'll see that we started to discover that even at the low sprint levels, there is variance. So today, we know that we've got 100 meters in the heat wave games. We've got the pass, so we've got, as you can see, top right, unlimited green tokens, which means we can do these tests quite easily when something like this is on. So, 100 meters. What I want to be able to do is we're going to do the same as we did when we did the 200. We're just going to do some tests. So, let's just do it with no start, terrible starts. We get the worst start possible. We will not press anything for the tap and hold. So, we are looking at what is the base performance for 100 meters. And there we go. We have got 14,022. So let me just make a note of that one. So it's 14,022. And that's the base. So I'm going to run this 3 times and then we'll see what the dip does in 100 meters. Remember, the dip got us at 0.16 in the 200. I think we all feel like that was a bit light. We all feel like it contributes more. But let's see what happens here. So we should be coming in at 14.022. Let's just see how we go. 14.039. So we're at 0.17 variance, so very similar to the 200 meters. Maybe it's just commonality across sprints, and the 0.16 was more like a 0.17. We're going to do a third one. Let's see. And remember, the variance is normally up and down. There is often a first. There's obviously a middle, and you can go lower and higher on the variance normally. So hopefully we can figure out, is the 3.9 or the 2.2 the base? But it looks like the 3.9 might be the base. That's 3. We are going to do 2 more just to make sure, and see if we can find the slower metric, the slower time, I should say. So here we go again. Now, some people think that lane draw impacts time. We've been in what, 8.74. Or 7.64, I think it was. I didn't remember. We'll be able to see that when we watch it back afterwards. But lane 2 should technically be a slower time then. But it's not. It's the 14.039. We will do one more test just to make sure. And then we will test the dip. And there we go. I don't know why I started moving that. Then we'll test the dip on 100 meters, see what that does. Last time we figured out, actually, as long as you dip, it really doesn't matter. So lane 6, if it was going to be the quicker time, maybe this is the one where we get the quicker time. In which case, is there a logic that 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6 gives us better times as we go through? Nope. So we've shown that lane. Okay, first of all, what we've done is we've shown there that the lane really means nothing. It doesn't affect your time. So now what we want to start to do is, because we know the base level time and the quicker time being the 14.022, the base being 14.039, we can start to chart the dip, and we can figure out, was that dip the quicker time or the slower time that we had as the base. So again, we're going to leave everything to go. We'll get a terrible start. We will not do the tap and hold, but we will be dipping for the line. Now, 100 meters, you do move quicker, so you dip a little bit earlier, and that came back at 14.022. Now, if we hadn't have done that test further and we left it at 14.022, we would have thought that was not giving us any time benefit. But I think that what we've got there is that we've got a 14.039. The dip itself put us onto 14.022. And therefore, the dip is getting us a 0.016. 0.016. Okay, let us now try a really late dip, and then we'll do a really early dip. Because remember, when we did the last test, dipping too early actually impacted our time quite a bit. It made us even slower than not pressing anything. So this one we are going to get the bit closer. Now, I wonder, and this is impossible to test for because of the late dip, 039. Now that one, what we don't know is, was that the 14.022 time? We'd have to assume it was. Yeah, because that's come back with no 038, so that'd be the 0.16, so we can assume that was the 14.022. Let's just do it again, just so we can see. I think what I just said there was not logical. I've gone through what I just said in my head, right, as a normal dip. Okay. So there is a slower time out there, because I would not think that the dip gets us zero benefit. So there might be a slower time, which again we would have to probably do 10 to 15 tests on this. 14.039 is definitely the baseline. Let's just do a really early dip just to see what this looks like. But I think what we're starting to see is on sprints, there's minor variance, which makes a lot of sense. I do quite a few where you think you've done it perfectly and you come back with a 9.6, which would assume that you're on the slower time. 039 with the dip. I sort of want to take this back, because some of the logic here is saying that the dip does nothing. Let's try again. I'm just going to go back to doing nothing, I think. No, we're going to dip early this one. Really early. Just see if it slows us down a lot. Because the way it's looking is, if you didn't know the variance in times, you would assume that the dip did nothing. Early dip, and that really doesn't have much effect onto it. So the dip in 100 meters isn't necessarily that effective. Now let's do a normal dip again, and we can just start. We're just collecting data at the moment. I am a firm believer, when there's variance, you've got your standard time and it's 0.016 up and down in sprints. And this explains your times, which really don't change too much. Let's see what this is. No dip. Okay, that was the quicker time. So that would have come back with a 14.039. Yeah, so I'm sort of coming up with the idea here, and this is a good thing, we live test it. I think we're looking at a 0. We know there's a 0.17 variance. We know that it looks like it's a 0.016 on the dip. And we're just going to go, how much quicker do we go with a perfect one of these? How much does that take off? Well, that takes off virtually 3 seconds, just a shy underneath. So you can see that, yeah, you can see that with the tap and hold, that's coming out for about 3 seconds. Let's see if we can get a perfect start and see what that does. I would assume the perfect start is going to get us a 2 to 3. I didn't do it. I forgot to hit the go. Okay, we're just going to do this as a blank one, and then we'll do the perfect start. Just want to see if we can find... I was hoping, but there was going to be pure luck there, and it was going to come in at 14.046, which would have been the highest time. But we can see we've definitely got variance on the event. We know that the dip is making a minor improvement. It's not majorly improvement. Now we're going to try and get a perfect start so we can see what the difference is there. There we go. It's actually a pretty good start, that. I'm tempted to do it, but I'm not going to. It's testing. It's tempted to do that. Okay, so that's getting us 1.5 seconds. Which adds up. So 14. Yeah, 14, and then we've got the 4.5 seconds, which takes us down to 9.6 that we've done. So all of the mechanics make sense. We know that the tap and hold is more important than the start in terms of time, which I think we probably would have assumed that anyway. But yeah, that's probably all we'll go through today. 0.016 I think is on the dip. 0.017 is race variance that we get on times. We've quite clearly shown that there is variance. We've sort of shown that the dip is effective to a certain degree. Not massively, but it will make a difference when going for PBs. When to press the dip, I think what we've just shown is, as long as you don't dip too early or don't dip at all, the dip time isn't really impacting on the time. I still feel that that's not right. It feels different when you're going quicker, but that's very hard. Excuse me. That's very hard to prove. So, yeah, I think we've shown what we need to show there. There is variance. The dip does make a difference, and we will continue to do these tests and really see what the improvements are. We might be able to get mechanics on the 110 as well as on the 400 meters. But that's it for today. I'm just trying to use these events so that we can start to look at mechanics of how we go through things. But like, share, subscribe, see your comments below. Do you have a theory that's different? If so, what is it? If you've got something that you want me to test, if so, what is it? So, yeah, if you can let me know in the comments below, and we'll all be good. So, thanks for watching.